This is Mark Belt from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. Got Silent Mike doing some squats out of the rack here. You can see we rearranged some stuff here at ST, trying to make some room for some new equipment. Looking into getting some new things. Got a new rack coming. Just got a new row from Hammer Strength. There's Big Bird doing some squats at the safety bar. Again, the safety squat bar is going to pitch you forward, making you work your upper and mid back a little bit more so, placing the center of gravity in a slightly different area. There's one of Bird's BMX guys going. Here's Silent Mike going again with bands. Remember, the bands are accommodating resistant, less weight at the bottom, more weight at the top. The accommodation of resistance is going to make you lift more explosively. If you're trying to build explosive power, you're going to want to look into getting some bands and chains, or bands and chains, or bands or chains, or whatever. You're going to want to get one or the other, or both. It's going to be very effective in your training, and very effective for us, very effective for the guys at Westside Barbell. Just going to help you to apply more force to the bars. You can see Treston Scholl doing a good job of it there. Here's Silent Mike going again. Try to keep it quiet while he's going. Okay, we can resume. He likes to keep things nice and quiet, so we'll try to respect that as he does his lifts. There's Tara going with the rackable cambered bar, which that barbell is going to give you a slightly different feel as well, placing the center of gravity in a different spot. Much like lifters of the old school lifters used to do a lot of high bar squats, and they used to switch it up that way. You don't really hear of lifters doing that much anymore. Doing a high bar Olympic squat. It's still a good movement, but you just don't hear about it as much. And I think one of the reasons you don't hear about it as much is now we got different barbells to give us different training effects, and we don't really need to go that route. Here's Richard Lickerson going with some chain squats as well. There's Mr. Robot Pants and his ridiculous orange shorts. I don't know what's going on with him. Treston Scholl looking fatter than ever. I don't know if it's because he's training with Robot and Robot's jacked and tan, or what the deal is. Here's Richard Lickerson going again. This is a dynamic effort day. Guys are trying to move fast, trying to go down fast and up fast. Matt kind of went down slow and came back up slow as well. It looks like Big Bird might be trying to push his weights up a little bit more here. He might be working up, or he might have just turned this day into a max effort day. Robot usually does a good job with his speed. We train in a big group. Here's Ryan Cove going, doing some pulls against some bands there. When we train in a big group, not in a big group, but we'll train in a group of like 4 or 5 or so on one given rack. And Mr. Robot Pants has observed that Treston and I, it's almost like we're slacking in a way. The weights that we're using are not astronomical. They're not big weights, especially considering how strong we are. I mean, sometimes we get after it. Sometimes we put a big weight on there. But we're focused in more so on the intent of the day, having good speed and having good form. And, I think Treston and I do a good job of that. At the same time, that's what's going to get you strong. So work on your form and work on your speed. You can see Treston's not just getting underneath that bar and lollygagging around just because it's 455 or whatever that bar weight was. He's treating that weight as if it's 1,000 pounds. He's trying to squat that weight up as hard and as fast as he can. Here's Robot doing the same. Trying to keep that form, trying to sit back into those squats, trying to open up at the knees there. Here we got Damon throwing down his new record bench, jumping up on the record board. Bird doing some sumo pulls after he's done squatting against some bands, it looks like. And again, watch Treston here. This form is pretty damn solid. Knees are out, chest is up. He's dropping that upper body almost right down through his lower body. A weird thing to think about, but somebody told me that at one point, and I thought that was a pretty good cue. See, Matt's got to have his head. See how he's trying to do stuff with his head? trying to do stuff with his head to correct the rounding over of his upper back. And he needs to take care of that issue in his upper back and in his lats more so than anything. He needs to drive his elbows kind of downward towards the floor and pull that chest up a little bit more. Everyone is always trying to recorrect everything with their head, and it's unnecessary. You need to correct things with your spine and leave your head neutral. Correct things with your spine, leave your head neutral. You don't need to move your head around. See, here he's keeping his head a little bit more neutral, and the squat actually looks a lot better. But it looks to me like he pulled his chest up from the beginning a little bit better. Maybe somebody hollered at him there. Mr. Robot Pants always does a pretty good job keeping that chest upright, and you can see how his head is not all over the place. It's okay as you're coming up off the box to throw the chin up a little bit. That's just you're trying to you're trying to overemphasize that you're trying to keep your back straight, and so some guys like the way that feels and will do that. Some guys do the same thing out of the bottom of the deadlift. You don't want to turn it into a habit, but it's just sometimes something that people do. But the more you can keep that head back, the more you can keep that head neutral, the easier it's going to be to come up out of the hole. You can think about this. You don't want your face to be in front of your knees. And you can see Matt, throughout most of that lift, his fat face was in front of his fat knees. You're going to see here, Mr. Robot Pants will probably pull his giant fat face back, and his head will be more in line with like his quads. Robot trying to get those enormous traps set, and here he goes. And I know that's also a weird cue, but when you've been watching this shit for as long as I have, and you've been doing this many voiceovers, you start to notice this shit. You keep your head back behind your knees. He does a great job of it there as well. Robot squats a little differently than some of the rest of us. He has overextension pants on, and he's got to be careful that he doesn't overextend further, so he does not push his glutes back from the beginning. He actually initiates the squat from his knees. You can see how it's more of almost a straight down squat, but he's still sitting back. His knees aren't real forward, especially in the hole. Freeze frame it, take a look at it. His knees aren't forward hardly at all at the bottom of that lift. That's the same way that I squat, especially when I'm in full gear. Sometimes on box squats, on just a dynamic day, I'll sit back into my squats more to work the hammies a little bit more. And that's it from supertraining.tv. Later.